rats. Motivation of mother rats to their infant. What is motivation? It is an internal process that modifies the way an organism responds to a certain class of external stimuli and is controlled by the hypothalamus. In the approach avoidance motivation model, the onset of maternal behavior in rats that are supported by evidence that shows the hormonal events of late pregnancy act to decrease pup avoidance in mothers so they won't reject their young, and they want to increase interest of the mothers to their pups and their pup-related stimuli. And pup-related stimuli, there might not be an influence responsiveness, but they want to help influence changes that occur in the postpartum period. It can also reduce anxiety, but can also increase the maternal aggression. In maternal aggression, it usually starts just before the pups are born and can last all the way up until the second week following the birth of the pups. Estrogen plays a major role in why the mothers are aggressive, and behavior becomes independent after about 5 days of lactation, which is the secretion of milk. There are very high levels of aggression towards intruders as well. In the medial preoptic area output, otherwise known as the MPOA, there are pathways which stimulate voluntary maternal responses toward a pup, which doesn't function. Then the mother would not avoid or attack their pup, but there wouldn't be positive maternal responses that occur as well, such as feeding and nursing of the pup. Another change in the mother is the energy balance. So suckling from the pups can change the mother. So pups need milk for the first 14 to 16 days of their life, and depending on how big the litter size is, has different effects on the mother as well. So if a litter of 14 pups is occurring, then the mother would be outweighed by her pups. Normal changes in ingestion behaviors occur during this time as well, such as if a mother nursing 8 pups can increase her ingestion rate up to 3.5 times what she took in during her pregnancy. There are also changes in what they eat as well. It also continues on to the hypothalamus and motivated behaviors. So the hypothalamus controls the basic motivational states, such as regulating reproduction, food and water intake, and aggressive and defensive behaviors. So could understanding the hypothalamic efferents affect maternal responsiveness inform us about how the hypothalamus regulates other motivated behaviors? Well, what is motivation? And motivation is the internal process that regulates changes in responsiveness to constant stimuli, such as food deprivation increases responsiveness to food-related cues, and the endocrine events of pregnancy termination influence the female's responsiveness to infant-related clues later on. Motivation also is the internal processes that arouse and direct behavior toward a particular group of or a goal object. So this could be how a hungry animal will search for food, or a sexually motivated organism will search for a mate. Another example is a maternal female will seek out her infants or displaced infants, not just her own but others as well, to retrieve them and bring them to a secure location. This is also known as an appetitive phase, or a voluntary proactive response. Another internal process is called the consummatory phase, and it is composed of behaviors that are voluntary, such as eating food, copulating with a mate, or nursing infants. An appetitive motivation in mothers could be that when a mother picks up their child individually one by one, then they bring them to a desired location. This is known as a goal-oriented or a voluntary response. So it is an appetitive motivation. So why is the hypothalamus such an important part of the brain, and it is known as the dominant driving force in this article, but yet they only explain that it controls the regulation of reproduction, food and water intake, and aggressive and defensive behaviors? Why does it just mention those 3 things? But if it's a dominant driving force, why not explain a little bit more? I think that's one thing that the authors of this article could include a little bit more of, and instead of saying just what it regulates. But all in all that was described for the most part all takes place in the older parts of the brain, such as in the limbic system and in the hypothalamus. The fact the maternal behavior is a defining characteristic of mammals means that regulation across mammals by evolution conserved some core set of neural circuits and physiological processes, which means that research on rodents should help us understand the maternal condition in primates, which includes us humans as well.